Hi everyone, Karen Motes here for My Favorite Things. And today I want to talk to you about the Ring Me Die-namics and stamp set. You can see that it comes attached with all these little metal pieces, and I like to leave my dies together like this. That way all the little pieces don't get lost or misplaced. So I've cut one out to show you the different pieces. This is the telephone base, and then you also have the receiver that sits on top. There's also the number dial, the center part of the number dial, and the tiny little hook, which is the one that I know I would misplace all the time. So you can see it's all cut out of craft cardstock. It's a little bit monotone. So to jazz it up, what I decided to do was cut another number dial out of patterned paper. You can see that just by switching out this one little piece, it makes a big impact on the look of the telephone. And I want to show you the tip that I found when I was inking up the numbers. They come already spaced out to fit within the circles, but I found a little tip that it's much easier to stamp them after you've added the circle underneath. So I'm punching out a circle 1 3/8 inch. It's just slightly smaller than the number dial, and 1.5 inches would be exactly the same size, but I don't have a 1.5 inch circle punch, so this works just fine. I'm going to attach it with a glue dot in the middle. And place the little circle on the back. Then when I flip it over, I'll be ready to ink up my numbers and stamp them into their circles. So I'm just using Memento Tuxedo Black. And now I'm going to line up the numbers, which as I mentioned are already perfectly spaced out, and they fit into each of the little circles. When I first assembled it, I stamped the numbers and then punched out the circle, and I could never get it centered properly, so this is definitely a much better method. So here's the assembled telephone. The center circle looks a little plain to me though, but MFT comes to the rescue with that because there are several little sentiments in the set that are sized perfectly to fit within the circle. This one says call me. There's also always, I'm here, love you, and a few others that I used on my sample card. But I came up with a couple other ideas to help jazz up the center just by flipping through the Die-namics. One of them is to use the button quartet Die-namics. The scallop button from the button quartets fits perfectly in the center of the telephone, and I jazzed it up a little with a twine bow. But another option is to use the tiny pieces from the notched tag Die-namics. I used the heart. The heart really adds a nice sweet touch to the telephone. I'd say it even gives it a little bit of country charm. But I love flowers, so what I ended up going with on this card was the smallest flower from the Flower and Leaf Trio Die-namics. You can see that the smallest flower fits perfectly in the center of the telephone. And what I've done on the finished card is I've attached it in the center with a brad and added 3 of the sentiments, ring ring, hello, and miss you, along the top of the telephone. And I also popped the number dial on foam tape just to give it a little bit of extra dimension.